This thing's a peach.
So the worst thing about it is
Just look how clean it is.
Take note, because it'll never be this clean ever again. Like, we need to soak up every moment of this. That table was my grandma's. My brothers had it, and they were done with it. He said, "Do you want it?" And I said, "Yes, we can put it up in the loft, out in the shop."
Well, that'd be a good table to place some checkers on.
Yep.
Okay,
Do not be jealous that my Jeep is muddier than your Jeep.
for the moment, that's for sure. Bye. I'll see you after a while.
Okay. Drive safe. Good luck.
Okay. So this week is finally all about setting some boulders on that rock retaining wall, and one of the last things that I need to do before I can start setting boulders is cut an off-ramp into the side of this new landing. Cedar and I have been looking for a backup vehicle for her Jeep Wrangler for a while now. She's pushing 70,000 miles on that thing, and it would be nice to park it on the muddy days. My initial reaction was to find a Jeep Liberty diesel, which I'm secretly still looking for, but in the middle of all this, when Cedar went down to Arizona, her dad and stepmom offered her the 2004 Jeep Liberty you saw at the beginning of the video. So Cedar's older brother hauled the Jeep Liberty from Arizona up here to our place, and we wanted to say thank you to all of them for doing this.
We're so excited that our most recent order from nuts.com just showed up, and this month it's all about the dried fruits.
So, dried peaches, mangoes, apricots, and the fruity sampler. I have not had the dried peaches yet, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruit, sweet, pantry staples like specialty flours, and more. Their wide selection means there's something for everyone.
So we love the idea that Nuts.com is a third-generation business that sources the highest quality ingredients every single time.
Of course, Nuts.com has an amazing variety of nuts, but that's not all. They offer over 50 varieties of trail mix, tons of flavored popcorn choices, energy squares, fruit leather, and so much more.
There's literally something for everyone, from salted pretzels to chocolate malted balls. Bing, cherries. Excuse me, I need to sample this one.
At Nuts.com, quality is top priority.
They roast their nuts and pop their corn the same day it ships, so it reaches you deliciously fresh.
Satisfaction is guaranteed. Right now, Nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase plus free shipping of orders $29 or more at nuts.com/redpoppyranch. That's nuts.com/redpoppyranch.
Thank you again, Nuts.com. We love your stuff. So this is a better angle where you can see me coming off the side of that landing that I worked on all winter. And now I'm cutting in an off-ramp that will tie into the existing trail, which ultimately means I can jump on the side-by-side or the four-wheeler and stay on the same trail and get access to anywhere I want to get on my property. So this little trail coming off the landing connects the old with the new. Now that boulder that I just removed from the trail and set aside to be used in the retaining wall behind the house, I'm going to guess that that boulder is somewhere between about 700 and 900 pounds. If I had lost control of that boulder and it had rolled down the hill, it would have destroyed the fence that I spent all summer last year building. So as I'm cutting trails, and I'm always finding these boulders, but this is constantly in the back of my head to make sure that I don't lose control of whatever I happen to be hanging on to. It's only happened to me once where I lost control of a boulder and gravity took over, and let's just say that by the time the boulder came to a stop, there were a number of maple trees that were damaged by the boulder. So this is where the new trail off the landing ties into the old trail next to the propane tanks. Well, I would have loved to have left this cedar tree where it was, but because of the location and also because of its age, it had to go. I've been saving up cedar trees about this size for the last few years for a very particular project, so this tree will definitely get reused. I didn't want to take any chances with this tree, so instead of the chainsaw, I let the excavator do most of the work. Well, this is the constant battle I get to fight, which trees stay and which trees go, and unfortunately for our life to work, some of these trees have to go. Well, this is another one of these basket maple situations where all of these trees grew out of the same root ball, and for this reason they're all pretty weak. So I need to make sure they don't fall in the propane tanks. Whenever a tree has to get cut down, the first thing that I do is consider it for firewood. But if it is a cedar or a different kind of tree other than a maple, I have a stack that's been drying for a few years now waiting to be turned into lumber. Clearly, I don't want to cut down any more trees than I have to, but I also want the grass to grow and I want the trees that are left to thrive. And unfortunately, this is going to require other trees to go. The new landing is now tied in with the old trail, and Willie and I are trying it out with the side-by-side. Before I devote myself to that rock retaining wall on the back side of our house, I want to see if I can get the last little piece of this trail cut in out to that point, because I'm probably not going to get the excavator up here until I'm done working on that rock retaining wall. So this is the spot where the ground was way too soft to keep cutting the trail in about a month ago, and I thought by now for sure it would be dried out. And what I actually think I have right here is a little ground seep. I found a few spots on our property now where almost all year round there's a little bit of water pushing up out of the ground. And this is about 100 yards away from our little off-grid cabin, so it'd be cool to have some running water right here close by if I could figure this out. Well, that was the skull and hip bones of what I believe was a mature cow elk. That's one of the other things that I have stumbled across as I've been cutting trail in up the side of the mountain is a number of kill sites with everything from turkeys to deer to elk. I think these kill sites are likely caused by coyotes or mountain lions, but either way, it's nice to know that nature's still happening all around me here. And by the way, I finally got the trail cut in out here to the point. Well, I made it out here on this point that I've been trying to get to, or at least I'm about 70 feet from the place where I want to kind of carve in another little flat spot, and it's going to be another switchback that goes up around the edge of this little ridge here. This is kind of a really cool point right here where I can look down on our little world. So I'm thinking it's going to end up somewhere right in here, but I'm going to go down to the house and hook the old drone up and see if this is the best spot for this next switchback. So I've got the drone sped up here a little bit, but if you watch carefully, you can see the new trail that goes up to the landing is tied into the old trail around the back of our house, which means I can jump on the four-wheeler and get all the way up here to this point like I was hoping I would be able to do. You can see there where I stopped with the excavator, but there's going to be a switchback, and then the next part of this trail is going to hug the ridge and carve around to the other corner of our property. You can see all the boulders scattered all around our place up here, but it's finally dry enough to start on this rock retaining wall that I've been slowly getting ready for almost 7 years now. Your foot has to be, there you go, you're in reverse. Just a little bit, not much. Easy on the gas. Brake, hit the brake. Okay, slow.
I don't know.
Okay, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. A little more slow, watch for cars coming. Turn this more, hit the brake, and you can go forward if you want to, right there. Or is it up here? Oh, it's right here.
Oh, yay. I love sun
Dude.
grips. I think they're so cool.
This is like the Batmobile.
It's so cute.
Stuart's been driving since, because he was a man-child when he was 12. He's been literally driving since, he would drive my dad's manual transmission truck when he was 12 years old. By the time he was 12, he looked like he was 25.
I feel like that was...
How much are you going to pay me for teaching you everything I know about driving? Nothing?
Seatbelts are on. Callie's taking me for her first ride. But no tape player.
So actually the 2004 Jeep Liberty is going to be Callie's rig, but she's 13 right now.
Pretty sure my dad told me that this car's never been off-road before, and it said he's barely even seen the elements of the weather. It's going to get a little dusty on this road, but it's going to be what Jeeps do. You're doing good, Callie. Keep it up.
Let's go. Get up. Good boy, Willie. Okay, stay. No, stay. Back up. You're a good boy. You stay right there. For the last 8 years, every time I would find a boulder, I would set it someplace thinking maybe later on I would use that boulder in the rock retaining wall that I knew I was going to have to build at some point. So not only do I have the boulders that came from the new property, but I have a whole lot of boulders on our original property as well. I thought I would first use my truck to see how it handled a full load of boulders in a little rock trailer before I put the rock trailer behind anything else. I'm going to put the average weight on those boulders at around 300 to 400 pounds, so do the math. There's got to be over 5,000 pounds in that trailer at the moment, and that trailer doesn't care at all. To have a truckload of boulders delivered to my place up here, I wouldn't even want to know how much that would cost, but I'm guessing well north of about $1,500 per truckload. But I'm also going to get boulders that can be moved around with an average sized excavator, because nobody wants gigantic boulders that are too difficult to move around. Out of the hundreds of boulders that I've collected just for this retaining wall, I'm going to use the biggest ones first. And the biggest boulder I have is over 5,000 pounds. And my excavator can barely move it. So those are the very first few boulders there, and those boulders weigh anywhere from about 600 to 800 pounds a piece. Some of the smaller ones are going to be around 400 pounds a piece. And as I said, I'm learning along the way, so hopefully these boulders stay where they were originally placed. But I am fully prepared to build this thing and take it apart a few times if that's what it takes. So step one for me is to get all the boulders close enough to where I can make some decisions on what are going to be foundation boulders and what are going to be boulders that I can use to fill in gaps. But I'm going to try and stick with bigger boulders on this first course and see how far that gets me. Because of how high the clay content is in our soil, I'm not going to use any landscaping fabric. And as you can see, the hill really hasn't broken down a whole lot more than when I originally dug this out. So I'm not that concerned about the hillside sloughing off too much, as long as I can control where the water goes when the snow does melt. But this is going to end up being probably a 4-tiered garden terrace that we're going to actively use. And so the dirt needs to be compacted well enough that it stays in place when it gets wet. Let's hope that during this process the transmission of my truck holds up as well as the rock trailer is. Unfortunately, I think this whole corner is going to get rebuilt. But the rock trailer's taking the abuse just fine. I'm going to be focusing on this retaining wall for a good chunk of this summer, so we'll see you guys in a week with another video, and thanks for stopping by and seeing what we're up to.